Hello there, and welcome to the continued review of the financial modeling audit and review tools that are meant to support the financial modeling build review process. In this video, we're going to be looking at something called the last cell. We're going to be trying to figure out what's the last used cell in your financial model. Now, of course, you're wondering why is that important? Why do you need to find this out? That's because this will usually help you in terms of being able to reduce the size of your financial model or your sales question. So let's take a pause here. If I had asked you to look at the financial model and figure out or guesstimate how big a file do you think this file is, I'm sure, I don't know how much you work with Excel, but you probably have a look at the different sheets we have here. We have one, two, three, four, five sheets only. So in this case, you probably then look at the size of each of the different sheets and just figure out, how much have those been used. And so probably just split between the different sheets to be able to figure out what that would be. But my guesstimate would be less than an MB. If it was more than an MB, I would be quite surprised. However, I like us just to come here to go to file, then we go into the info for this specific sheet. And if you go there, the file is a whopping 3.66 MB. That's huge. And one of the key things you want to ask yourself, why is it so big? Now, of course, there's a couple of challenges that you have when you have very huge files. The first thing is that they're very hard to share. So you may have to use a memory stick in certain instances. You may have to put them in a drive folder to be able to share them. It's not easy to email them if you like to email them very easily. Of course, even opening them, managing them becomes very easy because Excel then will keep on trying to continuously save these different files. So nobody wants to have a huge file. You want to make sure that if a file could be a smaller file, make sure that it reduces to the size that it should be, to the minimum size it should be. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you may have huge files or big files. Some of them could be that you have many links to the financial model, external links and so forth. And so because of some of those external links, then you make your financial model big. Another key reason that you may have is that you have several formatted but unused cells and you're not aware of them. So when you format something and you've hidden it, for instance, in this sheet, you can see that there's a couple of items which have been hidden. There could be some things which are formatted, but they're not being used in the financial model. So they contribute to the size of the financial model, but they don't contribute to the value of the financial model you're acting on. Of course, the other thing is that the model just could be complex with lots of formulas and just that's what it is, right? There's also that fact. So the last cell is important because it's able to tell us whether we have unformatted cells in a financial model. It's able to tell us, if you open this sheet, for instance, and you're looking at it, the key question to ask yourself is, what's the last cell that is being used? Is it what I'm able to see, for instance? So if I come in here and I'm looking at this, is it this cell here, BY16, or does it extend even further? If you go to the different sheets in your financial model, what is the last cell that is being used? And so by so doing, you're able to figure out that and you're able to delete any unnecessary cells which are formatted but are not being used. So what do you do if you want to figure that out? So if you use the tools that we've been talking about, the key thing you have to do is just to come in here and you find something we call the end cell, not the last cell, the end cell. And so you can run a report on that basis. And so I'm going to do exactly that to figure out why is this file 3 MB plus, where I expect it to be less than an MB. So let me just click on that. I come in here, I click on the end cell. It asks me, I'm going to regenerate a report. Where do I want to save this report? I'm going to say, please save it in this current workbook. So I click OK on that. And once I do that, it then gives me an end cell report. Now, this is priceless because it tells me where each of the sheets is ending. And so by so doing, I can figure out what the size of the file. Now, remember the size of the file was 3.66 MBs. We're going to look to reduce that as substantially as we can. So let's do that. So if you go to the first sheet here, which is called sample, it's telling me the last row is 173. The last column being used is column CA. So let's just have a look and see whether all those items are being used. So I'll come in here to the sample, and if I scroll down, I'm on 173. Of course, that is being used, which is really good to be able to see. If I scroll to the right here, I see that we've hidden or we've closed this off. We've hidden it. So I want to just open this and just click on unhide. Once I click on unhide, if I continue all the way to the right, it takes me all the way to column CA. Column CA. So let's just go to CA. Wow, it goes quite a bit. So it tells me all the items that are being used all the way to CA. Now, the key question for me to ask is that are all these necessary for my financial model? And so for me to do that, what I would have to do is probably just come in here to the input C or to the timesheet and see, to what extent is this being used. This seems like it's one of the configuration sheets. And it seems BY is generally where the financial model goes, is coming to an end. Because if I look at this, the focus period ends in 2016. But then I'm seeing there's a post-focus period that has been provided for, and you can leave that for the time being. But BY generally tends to be the end. And so if I come back to my sample sheet here and ask why am I going all the way past BY, there's no reason why I should be going to column CE. And so what I could do, for instance, here is then just to select that column. I'm using Control Spacebar and select Control Shift and the right arrow, and I can decide to clear off everything else to the right. And I'm going to use a shortcut here, Alt H E A. Right? Basically, just click home, come to clear, and click on clear all. And if I do that, I clear off the formatting, I clear everything that is in that space. And after that, I can save this sheet. So Control 0, save that. And now I know for sure that my last cell will not be going all the way. It will be coming maybe till column BY. So let me go back to my end cell report. Again, the same thing. I go to the next one, which seems, I check the next sheet here. This is going to 17 and BY. BY seem to have agreed that BY is where I should be ending. So I'm going to end everything at BY. So I come in here once again and look at the timesheet, and it seems the timesheet is the major culprit. So it goes all the way till row 65, and the last column is XFD. So I'm going to just look at that. So let's go to the timesheet. I scroll down to 65. Indeed, I'm using all the rows till 65. But if I go to the right, I'm going to go to the right. BY seems to be where we've closed the sheet in this case. So I'm going to unhide just to see what's happening here. And if I unhide, I realize that I have a lot of formatting. This goes all the way till XFD. And I think this might be my biggest issue in terms of contributing to the size of the file. So I'm going to come in here, do the same thing I did earlier because I want to reduce the size of this file. I'm going to go to column BY. So scroll all the way to the right, and I go to BY. And I'm going to be there now. Control Spacebar, Control Shift, right arrow, and then I'm going to clear everything here. Alt H E A. That clears all the formatting and so forth. And I press Control 0. And sorry, it's not. I press Control 4 now. Control 0 in this case. And all of a sudden, I've hidden out everything going forward. And then I'm going to do that for the next sheet, just to make sure I end up at BY. The next one here is EFW. I go to EFW, I check what's happening. Same thing, select that and hide. And if I unhide, I'll realize I'm moving all the way till CC. I think it says from CC. I can select from VZ to the right. Alt, H, T, A. That clears out all the formatting at that point. Control 0 to hide as I've hidden before. And then once I'm done with that, I can now save this file and reopen the file. And by saving and reopening, I should be able to see whether the file has now been used inside. So let me do that very quickly. So I'm going to just save that, Control S, save, Control W, close that file. And once I've done that, I want to go back and try and reopen the same file. This is the file here. So I'm going to wait for it to just finish. And if I just double click on it, you already can see here it's 139 kilobytes. And so let's say file open, file is open, the report is included here. So I'll go back to my file, I click on file, and I'll go back to info. And now if I look at this, the file has reduced from 3.67 MB to 138 kilobytes. So what have we done? We have just used the end cell report to figure out what's happening. And what I can do here is I can delete this end cell report. I've deleted Alt EL, and then I'll come back here and run yet another report, which I'm going to call the end cell report. Just click on that, current workbook. And if I do that, all of a sudden, everything is in here in BY. I still have a CC here. I'll probably want to delete this and check why it's going past that cell. But I think I've achieved what I wanted to achieve in this case in my financial model. And so, folks, that's how you take your financial model, figure out what the last cell is, which helps you to be able to figure out what's how come your financial model is so huge. And this is one of the biggest culprits. To be able to just make sure that your financial model, there are no cells, columns, rows that are being used that are not necessary, that and are formatted be able to read your size of the financial model substantially. So thank you very much for joining me for this video. We keep reviewing these different tools. I hope you're enjoying these. I hope you want to subscribe to these tools because they're going to make your financial modeling very efficient. They're going to help you to figure out things that you've not probably considered in Excel. Thank you, and looking forward to connect with you when you reach out to us to subscribe to the tools.